All right. We seem to be live. Let me just wait for the audio for YouTube to pick us up, and let's see that the audio is good. Pin message. Yeah, it sounds good. All right. So I wanted to start from the end, and then maybe we can review and respond to this video of vegan gains debating the scientific snitch. Debate is quote unquote. He calls it a debate. She called it a conversation. I don't define it as a debate because he hosted. You cannot host and debate. You have to have a third party. And so I don't think it's a debate, but that's another topic. Anyway, so let's start from the end. Vegan Gains defeated his own position. Let's prove it. So I'm gonna skip right to this point. It's in the show notes. It's in the description. So this is at mark 34 minutes and 59 seconds. Let's hear Vegan Gains, or let's hear the discussion.
I just want to ask one question because now that kind of makes me curious that you said that you don't believe that free will exists.
I said I'm agnostic. I don't know if it does or does not.
Okay. So Vegan Gains is agnostic about free will. All right, and now let's play the conclusion of the discussion. This is at 50 minutes and 9 seconds. Okay, and then he asked her, so you admit you're doing something wrong. All right, so here's the problem, and here's why Vegan Pants shot himself in his pants, in his pee-pee. So if you are agnostic about free will, so there's two options. Either the universe is deterministic or it's not. So if the universe is deterministic, then we're just pebbles rolling down the hill. Basically, you could say we're just a bunch of physical reactions, like billiard balls, quantum billiard balls, whatever, since the Big Bang or whatever, whenever the multiverse started, whatever. So in that case, there's no such thing as right and wrong. What is right and wrong? We're just machines with no free with no free choice, with no free will. That's one option. And he said he's agnostic. So right and wrong are undefined. So Vegan Gains has to admit that he is agnostic about right and wrong. He cannot define right and wrong. He has to be agnostic if right and wrong exist, whatever that means. So according to Vegan Gains, he cannot define if the Holocaust, I mean, this comes out of being agnostic to free will. So anyway, I don't even have to go any further. I mean, his question to scientific snitch, if she admits that she's doing something wrong by eating meat, by eating animals, by murdering animals, killing animals, the question is undefined because you cannot use the word wrong unless you're talking about like a mathematical equation. 1 + 1 = 2 is right and 1 + 1 = 3 is wrong. I don't even know if you can say that. I don't know if that is defined if there is no free will. So, oops, I have a phone call. All right. So his entire proposition or claim that she knows that she's doing something wrong, he has to claim that he is agnostic about her behavior. He has to claim that carnivores, non-vegans, he has to claim that he is agnostic about their moral position, whether it's right or wrong. And that's it. So his conclusion that, as usual, he pretends to win a debate. No, he did not win the debate. He shot himself in the foot. as always, veganism is a bunch of nonsense. Veganism is reductio ad absurdum. It's completely absurd. It's not a scientific position. It doesn't make any sense. No matter what you try to do, it's utter nonsense. I cannot make sense of it. It's just nonsense. All right. So that's the conclusion. Now, maybe we should run through this debate because a bunch of interesting points came up. One point that I wanted to make is that he said that he is for, I would have to find it. As we would go through this video, we can find it. So he said that he's all for killing uh, predators, predatory animals. Well, chickens are predatory animals, so you shouldn't have a problem with murdering male chicks because if you let them live, they're going to violate rights, animal rights. They're going to murder worms in the ground. They sometimes eat mice, they eat insects. So that's rights violation. So according to you, it should be fine to murder chickens. And once you murder them, it's okay to eat them because obviously that's completely meaningless. So he should be fine with the chicken farming industry. And the same goes for fish. I think he once mentioned, I'm pretty sure he once mentioned that most fish are carnivores, are predators. So it should be fine to eat fish. Certainly fish that are predators. Anyway, he is all for killing predators. So it should be fine to, right, he should not have an issue with eating meat because meat is plentiful. You can, right, he's all for hunting bears. So you can eat a bear. You can eat plenty of animals. Now, I would even say that cows, when they eat grass, sometimes they might eat an insect, which means they might be carnivorous. So, it, it according to him, no better safe than sorry. What they call, they have this principle. I don't remember the principle, but the principle which if you don't know, better safe than sorry. So, it's better not to have cows running around eating insects. One cow, it's better to kill one cow than let the cow maybe kill many insects. So, it should be fine to eat cows. And he mentioned, we'll get to this. He mentioned that like a nematode, a C. elegans nematode, like a microscopic worm. I mean, those creatures have been demonstrated to have a social life, and they seem to have consciousness by his definition, or he calls it sentience, meaning they're aware of, I don't know, being cut or something, being killed. So I could show you a video of a single-celled amoeba being killed and being aware of its death. I mean, it's responding to its own demise. It's being eaten alive, and it's obviously struggling. So according to you, a single amoeba should be considered sentient. And also during this conversation, we'll get to it. There's discussion about if a single neuron or a single cell in the body of an animal has consciousness or sentience, and he says no. But that consciousness arises, or mind arises from, like, I don't know from what, from a bunch of neurons or something. So, so, so a single neuron does not have sentience, but two neurons do. I mean, what is your scientific definition of sentience or mind? Anyway, these are some questions to think about as we review this video. All right, let's run through this quickly. So let me go. I guess we can skip right to the beginning and listen.
And with the scientific snitch, is that what you go by?
Yep.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
All right, looks like we're live. So I am joined with the scientific Snitch. Is that what you go by?
Yep.
Yeah, on TikTok. So somebody sent me your TikTok channel and said that you're interested in debating, and I saw the video you made basically going over why you're not vegan anymore. Apparently, you used to be vegan. The long and short of it is you have a gluten intolerance or wheat allergy, and you also have PCOS, insulin-resistant PCOS, which makes dietary planning a little difficult. Your meal choices are restricted. So for that reason, you started eating meat again.
All right. I'm obviously worried about copyright strikes. I did receive a copyright strike from Isaac Ask Yourself because I uploaded his video, I mirrored his video, and when he just mentioned that it's not okay, I took it down, but he still issued a copyright strike. So I'm always worried from vegans because they do use terroristic tactics to take down their what they consider their enemies, which makes sense. I mean, they view us as actual Nazis, so they'll do anything. I mean, you have to actually be aware of that and be wary or weary of these people. So I'm gonna try and make stops and talk, even if there's nothing interesting to say. But yeah, that's these people. These people are terrorists, unfortunately. Let's continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off there. Just to add on, I also stopped being vegan because I am a bodybuilder, so I do have specific goals in mind, as well as I used to have a really severe eating disorder, which it kind of progressed pretty quickly with that.
Okay, and did you actually go to treatment for that?
Yes, so the kind of eating disorder that I had was bulimia, not anorexia. Anorexia tends to be, oh yeah, I should probably leave it live. Saying that is not going to go on live here. But basically, anorexia, you can bleed this out at least, is more easily treated from treatment centers, and they're treated almost the same thing as almost every other eating disorder, which is primarily why it was not helping me. Bulimia is a binge purge, so like cycle, and it has not a lot to do with starvation unless it's an anorexia bulimia subtype.
Okay. So I figured we'd.
By the way, I noticed that he doesn't have a chicken. Why doesn't Vegan Gains have a chicken in his house as a pet? A pet female chicken. This chicken would probably, that's pretty normal, would lay an egg every morning and he could eat it if he so pleased. And if he felt that he's not allowed to eat it because it's not vegan, then he shouldn't let the chicken eat it. But why not eat it? I mean, if he says that he cannot eat the egg and the chicken cannot eat the egg, that no one can eat the egg because that's predatory, well, that doesn't make any sense. Also, he said that the only thing wrong with eating eggs is because of the egg industry, because they kill the male chickens. Well, so according to you, there's nothing inherently wrong with eating an egg. So why not have a chicken or tell your followers to have chickens in their house and eat their eggs? And anytime this discussion comes up, he should bring it up, but he has never brought this up. He always says, "Oh, the meat industry, the egg industry, they murder the male chicks in a blender." And by the way, I mean, I don't understand why they're doing it. I mean, they can certainly let the chicks live and then eat them. I don't see the problem. Anyway, being killed in a blender is pretty fast. I mean, if I had to choose how to go, either go, naturally, which means in nature, which is usually a gruesome death, or being chopped alive quickly in a blender, I would always prefer being killed by a blender than being killed by nature. So, I mean, certainly being eaten alive slowly by a bear or by mice or by predatory birds, I mean, these are by far more gruesome than being killed by a blender. So if you ask me as a chick, what do you prefer? I would always prefer the blender. So I don't see the issue. I think the blender is a very humane way to go. If you let the chicks loose and they go into nature, they're going to be murdered by predatory animals. And of course you're against that. So it's like, as always, I mean, vegans end up with dead ends. According to vegans, I mean, since they try to minimize suffering, well, he doesn't. He just wants to minimize rights violation. Well, the minimal rights violation is if you kill all life. If there is no life in the universe, a lifeless universe has zero animal rights violations. So again, as always, vegans prefer to destroy all life in the universe. This is by far the most dangerous philosophy to ever come into existence.
Just base the debate around that, whether or not those sorts of personal concerns or issues justifies eating meat. So what type of animal products do you eat?
So I mainly eat eggs and yogurt. I have some meat here and there.
Let me check the audio. Where is the audio? Is this it? Yeah. Okay, it's fine. The audio is good. Let's continue.
A lot of my diet is based around like proteins when I'm cutting. If I'm bulking, then I mainly switch over to plant-based proteins, just for like my own ethic reasons. I do try my best when I can, but when it comes to consuming animal products, it's primarily uncuts when I don't really have much of a choice with the macros that I'm given.
Okay, so it's only really when you're dieting that you eat animal products. Like, are you ever on a completely plant-based diet?
Yes and no. There are some animal products in my bulking diet, such as like yogurt and stuff like that, but that's really just to help me hit my protein goal, or like whey protein powder.
Okay, so you could, in theory, eat like
Right, that's another problem with veganism. So they're against milk, and I don't understand why. I mean, again, vegan gains could have a pet cow. Let's say he could have a pet cow or a pet goat, or even if his cat was pregnant or female dog was pregnant and would have milk. So he could milk his pet animals. Let's go with a goat because that's like very normal, and goats are kind of smallish, or a lamb. These are kind of small animals that you could have indoors. As some people actually have them indoors. Um, why not, let them get pregnant naturally, and then forever consume their milk. I mean, there are automated devices that these animals can go to whenever they want to relieve themselves of the pressure, of the pain, and forever you can get what I would consider vegan milk. This is a very realistic this is very realistic. So there's nothing inherently wrong, according to vegans, with drinking milk. Milk is vegan. It's that they're against the animal rights violations, according to vegan gains, that come with the industry. And again, I mean, some of the industry, I mean, you could go to farms that use these devices and buy their milk. So that milk, according to vegan gains, should be vegan milk, but he never brings it up. It's as if they need to cause human suffering, which is animal suffering, an animal. They need to cause it. It's like they're unhappy. They're unhappy with actual solutions to the problems that they invent out of whole cloth. They invent these problems, and there are solutions to the problems they invent, but they don't want the solutions. They want the problem. This is the type of people they are. It's got nothing to do with rights violations, with animal rights, nothing to do with suffering, nothing to do. It's just people that try to destroy, just try to create unhappiness in the universe. These are unhappy people. That's the way I see it. I'm sorry, I don't have another explanation.
hydrolyzed soy protein isolate instead of like whey or casein?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like you to name a trait that's lacking in animals that, if lacking in
Yeah, name the trait is utter nonsense. Because name the trait, he's saying, what is he saying? He's saying, I mean, name the trait assumes that she has a choice, that she can do whatever she wants. So why do you choose to murder animals and not murder humans? Well, there's no such choice. Because if you murder a human, you go to prison. And if you murder an animal, no one bats an eye. So it's not a choice. it's not up to me who we eat. I didn't decide that. No one decided that. This evolved just like we evolved. I didn't decide to have two arms. That's the way we evolved. So name the trait simply is asking why did social evolution come up with eating humans bad, eating cows good? I don't know. No one knows. That's the way, we don't eat dogs usually. We don't eat humans usually, right? We might eat dogs. We might sometimes eat humans. I've heard of people that eat, like, if like if a woman has an abortion, they eat. I don't think they eat the baby. They could eat the dead baby. If there is an abortion, you could eat the dead baby. I mean, people, you're not going to go to prison. Nothing's going to happen to you if a baby came out of your tummy and you're sitting down with the family to eat it. Like, like, no one is going to put, I don't think anyone is going to put the family that eats it to prison. So there's nothing I don't think there is anything illegal about it. But I don't think anyone does that. But you know, we do murder humans. We do murder babies in their tummies. So that's so that happens. I've lost my train of thought. Let's continue.
A human being would justify killing eating human beings to say,
Yeah. So name the trait doesn't make any sense. It's built on an assumption that we each choose who to kill. Why didn't I wake up this morning, go to my neighbor, murder them, and then cook them for breakfast? Why didn't I do that? Well, I didn't do that because I would go to jail. No one does that because society would execute you. I mean, people who have done this have been executed, as society doesn't like that. And that is how society works, whether you like it or not. I know you want to say, "Oh no, no, that's the way it is." I mean, it's also it's an optimization. Like, we as a society, we live together. We don't murder each other. I don't want to be murdered. So even in a society where there isn't a legal system, like even two people on an island, I don't think this ever happened and that one murdered the other just for food. I mean, they would both probably starve to death before one would decide to murder the other. Maybe one would wait for the other to die and then would eat his friend because he has no choice, and even then probably would not enjoy it. So the whole layers of assumptions that NTT, name the trait, is built on is unrealistic. That's not how the world works. We don't have the choice. We live in a world of a balance of terror where I don't murder you, you don't murder me, we don't murder each other, we don't steal from each other usually. Obviously, sometimes society breaks down and these things do happen and people murder each other and steal from each other and rape each other, as we just saw happened uh, in Israel. So yeah, sometimes it does happen, but in general, society doesn't let this happen, right? As soon as it happened in Israel and Palestine, Gaza, so the whole world, a lot of the whole world that usually is not pro-Israel and anti-Palestine, suddenly a lot of people are now anti-Palestine and anti-Gaza and pro-Israel because society doesn't like rape and murder and burning people alive. I heard that at least an adult and a child were tied together and burnt alive. That's what is visible from the forensics. That's what I heard. So, from they did a CAT scan or an MRI, I don't remember, or an X-ray. They did something because they couldn't recognize it was charred beyond recognition because they burnt them alive. So there was They could barely tell what's going on, but that's what they figured out happened from the forensics. So when this happens, society reacts. So that's the world we live in. So even the poor Palestinians, quote unquote, that the world is usually very sympathetic to, the world instantly lost all its sympathy, at least temporarily, as far as we know, to the Palestinian plight, quote unquote. Um, so that's the world we live in. We don't live in a world where we choose, name the trait. Let me think. Do I eat a baby? Do I eat a baby animal? No. There are there is what is accepted. It's accepted to order meat online. It's fine, absolutely fine, according to civilization. But if you suggest that you're going to eat someone, you will go to jail. You're going to get stopped. And certainly, if you do it, you're probably going to get executed. So his entire premise on which Name the Trait is built is nonsense. So it's a nonsensical discussion. So she it's like, well, that's the way humanity evolved. It's an optimization, right? The way evolution works, evolution finds local maxima or minima depending on how you define it, but evolution finds local optimizations. And these local optimizations in a multidimensional what do you call the shape, the geometric shape? It has a name. Um, Forgot the name. Anyway, so within this multi-dimensional variable space, evolution, nature, evolution, the universe finds these local optimizations. So society, human society is a local optimization, and animals like dogs have their local optimization, and dogs and humans, that has a local optimization. So these are just optimizations that people found, and dogs found, and C. elegans nematodes found, and amoebas found. All that's how evolution works. So all these creatures simultaneously are running experiments, the Darwinistic endless evolutionary experiment. So all these experiments simultaneously are looking for local optimizations. And so humanity found a local optimization by which we don't murder each other, but we do murder animals and eat them. That's just it. Why? You could go through and try and understand, you can compare it to an alternative where we do murder each other, and you realize, well, that's not an optimization for me, so I don't like that. But if we murder babies, yeah, I can see that. That's fine. So a lot of people are pro-abortion, and um, what if we murder dogs? Yeah, I don't want my dog to be murdered, so let's not do that. But in China, they say, yeah, I don't care. Let's murder dogs. And what about murdering cows? Well, in the West, yeah, murdering cows is fine because it doesn't harm me. So that's fine. And murdering babies is fine because it doesn't harm me. But if we just nilly-willy allow people to murder each other, well, that's not an optimization for me. So that's the way it is. It's just the rationality assumption. So the whole thing is just rationality, which is, evolution. Evolution creates rational creatures that look for their self optimization because otherwise they wouldn't survive evolutionarily. So, because of evolution, you get rationality, you get self optimization. The all creatures seek their own self benefit. That's the way the universe works. And your NTT is nonsense, completely unrealistic, nothing to do with the universe.
Meet a protein goal.
And it's a good trick. I mean, because when you talk to people, it's very difficult. Like, even if I during a debate, if I had to explain it, it's not simple. This is very subtle. and I think I don't know if he knows this, but anyway, he should listen to what I'm saying and agree that NTT is nonsense. Let's continue.
I mean, they did do that in what is it called? Jamestown, the starving of Jamestown when they were starving. So if you are absolutely starving to death, then if your only choice of food would be eating and consuming another human being, it's not necessarily justifiable, but I would rather be alive than dead.
Right. So, I mean, if this comes to court that I murdered someone because it was either murdering them to eat them or die. So I don't know if a court would decide that I'm guilty of a crime because I didn't have a choice. I would be dead if I didn't do it. So what's the crime? I don't think there is a crime there. I don't think I think that the court would agree that any person in such a bizarre scenario would end up doing it. I had no choice. It was either die or eat my friend. So I didn't have a choice. There's no choice. There's no freedom. I didn't have the freedom. She collapsed, named the trait. She said, "No, it's not true. We do it." So under duress, when we have no choice, we do it. So there's nothing inherent. There's nothing inherently wrong about. There's no inherent distinction between murdering humans and murdering animals. It's just that, I mean, sometimes we do murder humans. That's her response. That would not be my response. Um, my response, if I just had to go with so why do I mean, so as I've explained previously, so if one day a cow is born that is a super duper genius, and this cow starts talking and pontificates and explains to us the secrets of the universe, of science, and so obviously we're not going to kill this cow. Obviously we're going to treat this cow probably better than we treat any human. We're going to probably worship this cow. So it's not that, so that's the trait. The trait is, that this animal is, it's good for us. It's good for me to worship this animal. It's good for my neighbor to worship this animal. It's good for me to protect this animal from being murdered. So I'm going to do my best to protect this animal because it's good for me. It's just a rationality assumption. Again. So name the trait. So it's just good for me. Now, so he would say, okay, so if the cow is a genius, but a cow that is a dummy dum dum, you do eat. Yes. So would you eat a dummy dum dum human? So the answer is no, because that's not optimal for me. So if I had a dummy dum dum child, I would still want to protect it. And that's why it's not optimal for me to allow for dummy dum dum people to be murdered. I guess that's why we don't murder dummy dum dum people. Um, yeah.
Right, but you're not starving, and you admitted you could eat completely plant-based if you wanted, if you're bulking.
I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole thing. How long have we been going? Because I already said a lot. Oh, there's comments in the comment section. Oh, interesting. So we have I see why Candy 92. How is making the cows natural pregnant sustainable to get milk? How is making the cows natural pregnant sustainable to get milk? What do you mean? You let a cow get pregnant, she has a calf, and now she's giving milk, and you have milk basically forever. And you can get her pregnant again if you want more and more calves. So I don't so But oh, you're saying, oh, you can have more and more calves, and you're gonna have more and more cows. So, so what? What's the problem with having more cows? What do you mean sustainable? The universe is not sustainable. The universe will end, and because of entropy, at least because of entropy. So the universe is doomed. So there's no. So the word sustainable should be off the table. So I don't know what you're talking about. LOL, are you live? Yes, I'm live. I wish there was a sound that the system would make when a comment comes in. So what about societies that accept cannibalism? Exactly. So that exactly. So evolution tries out different experiments simultaneously. I mean, that's the way the universe works. So different social groups, social human groups try out different modalities, different governmental systems, different legal systems, different ethical systems. So some of them might try cannibalism. I don't think they eat each other. I think they eat when they go to war with another tribe. So what are you going to do with all the men, uh, either that you captured or that you killed? So if you kill them, during war, so obviously there's no problem in eating them, theoretically, certainly in a place where you need food, so might as well eat it. What's like, what else? Bury it? Why? So it makes certain sense. So you could see how some societies found a local optimization, a local minima in cannibalism of that type. Now, literally cannibalism, eating each other. Well, maybe if someone committed a crime towards you, so you would kill them. Once you kill them, why is there a problem in eating them? You could say, from the argument of sustainability, which is ridiculous, but let's go with it. So let's say you want to sustain whatever that means. So it would be better to eat people that we execute or people that we kill. So if we decide to kill someone for some reason because of a crime or because we were defending ourselves, so the environmentalists, you as someone who believes in the idea of sustainability, so you should be pro cannibalism. So obviously you see exactly where it comes from. It's a local optimization because what's the point of burying a good human, meaning good for a meal? I mean, he's good. Let's say it's a little boy, so his meat is tender. So what's the point in burying it? Why not just eat it? From sustainability, from argument at sustainability, you should be pro that approach. So you see where how cannibalism arises very quickly. Certainly in dire conditions where food is scarce and hard to come by. So it makes perfect sense. So there you go. And again, I see Kenny92. Hello. Have you pre-recorded your reaction? No, this is live. You cannot tell that this is live. Anyway, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to get, you know what? Maybe I'll have it. Oh, someone has arrived. Where is, oh, Spicoli. Spicoli, well, text me in private. Tell me why there is inflation, please. So let me open YouTube on my iPhone. Let me lower the volume to the minimum. Oh, there it is. Where's me? Where's my video? So my video, my channel, live. Oh, there it is. So he gave an answer. Let's see the answer. Very good, very good. Good,
Hi,
good answer.
Slade.
Hey, wait, I can hear myself. Yeah, I can hear myself.
What
What's
do you
going
mean?
on with you? I'm echoing off your system. You probably have me on speaker. Are you having me on speaker?
Let me check. Hold on.
You need to check.
No, I mean, I might have my Wi-Fi on. I think my Wi-Fi is on. It's my Wi-Fi.
It's your Wi-Fi that is. Oh, now it's quiet. How? Okay. I'm getting a message.
Okay.
Wait, can you hear me?
Slave, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but when I can hear you, I can also hear myself. So maybe
Let me.
when you speak, you should like when you're not speaking, put the what do you call mute? Mute the mic when you're not speaking. Did you get it?
Yeah. Okay. Can I speak now? What are we
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about? Cannibalism, right?
Yeah.
Are you still going?
Wait, I can barely understand what you're saying. You're roboting.
I don't know. Okay, let me call you back. I'll call you back. I'm having problems. Let me call you
All
back.
right, all right. Okay, we lost Spicoli. Let me, there's a message on my iPhone. Let me figure out why I'm getting this message. That's not, how do you switch? They shifted, they destroyed Google Translate because my phone is in a different language that I don't understand. How do you switch the languages? This is what have they done? So ridiculous. So ridiculous. Yeah. And even now it's not translating? Okay, okay, okay. Got it. It's not an important message. Okay. So now I'm going to be able to see if there is incoming messages, but the problem, the next problem is that I can't see the battery. Oh, the battery is low, so let me charge my iPhone. I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole thing because I'm really busy. I gotta get back to work. So maybe we'll spend another 20 minutes on this until we have like an hour, and then we can uh, stop. All right. So hopefully now I'll see the messages. All right. So let's continue.
Yes, but how exactly is consuming, for example, unfertilized eggs a killing of life?
Great. So now she goes to eggs. I think this is what usually should be done with vegans, because eggs they have to agree that there's nothing unethical about just eating eggs. If they don't agree with that, it's going to be obviously more difficult to convince them to eat, to murder an animal and eat it. But to eat an egg, you just found an egg. I just walked about, found an egg. Or let's say I have a chicken, a bunch of chickens, and they lay eggs every morning. So I just have eggs, and these eggs are gonna rot if no one eats them. And so why not eat it?
You said you used to be vegan.
I used to be.
Interesting. Okay, so he doesn't answer the question. Why is it important if she used to be vegan? Why not answer the question, what's wrong with eating an unfertilized egg?
Right. So do you not understand how the egg industry works?
How is this relevant? That's the egg industry. She asked you about eating an egg. You're talking about the egg industry. And what do you mean how the egg industry works? I don't know. I mean, what is the egg industry? Can you elaborate? I mean, what do you have in mind? So he's going to go to the chicks, but I'm assuming there could be farms. Certainly, you could have a vegan farmer that has chickens and he doesn't throw his male chicks into the blender. So why can't you buy from them? And why can't you create such farms and support these farms? Again, solutions are available, but these people will not allow these solutions. They're probably going to go to these farms and attack them even more than actual uh, industrial farms.
No, I do.
So you're fine with, say, throwing male chicks that can't be used for the egg industry into a blender while they're fully conscious.
Okay, we discussed this. I mean, I would. It's better. Like if I would have to choose death by nature or death by a blender, most people by far would prefer death by blender once they see how nature kills you. Nature is the most painful, gruesome way to die in general.
I don't necessarily feel like that's justifiable.
Right, that's what you're doing when you buy eggs.
I'm not the person doing that.
Okay, so if, let's say, humans
Okay, so I'm not the person doing that. That's not a good argument. So unless you say, well, I don't care what they do with the male chicks, I mean, that has nothing to do with the eggs. How is that relevant to the eggs? I mean, the person that makes the eggs also is a serial killer. So I don't care. He kills humans. That doesn't change anything inherent to the eggs. He happens to murder male chicks. He doesn't have to do that. He can let them loose and let the birds eat them. Anyway, chicks are carnivorous. Chicks, if you let them loose, they eat worms and mice and maybe kittens. So chicks are carnivorous. So you should be all for murdering chickens and chicks.
could lay eggs, only
You should be happy. You said you're all for murdering bears. How is a bear different than a chick, a male chick?
human females could lay eggs.
Also, male chicks end up killing each other. They all murder each other. If you let them live, they're all going to murder each other. They fight all the time to the death. So even if it's not to the death, they cause suffering to each other. So you would minimize, I guess you would minimize suffering, but he doesn't care about suffering, but you would probably minimize rights violations because if a male chicken murders another male chicken, he's going to do it or it's going to do it with much more pain than if we just throw it to a blender. So throwing it to a blender is instant, painless, relatively pain, painless death, whereas being murdered by another chicken, another cock, a rooster, being murdered by a rooster is slower, much more painful. So there's many more rights being violated, as would show up in a court case if I murdered someone just by throwing them into a blender versus if I first, you know, tortured them and then threw them into a blender, or first tortured them and then they died through torture. There's more rights violations, I think. That's what a court case would find. Makes sense. So
eggs, and there was a human egg industry where women are being used to lay eggs. Obviously, when you're breeding humans, about 50% of them are going to be female, about 50% are going to be male. The males can't be used for the egg laying industry. So human
they can't be used for the egg laying industry, but why can't you sell them for food? But that you would be fine with? And if you are not fine with it, then what if you sell them as food for animals? What if you just let them loose and the birds eat them? You're not fine with that either. So it's like, okay, so as always, so reductio ad absurdum, according to you, destroy all life in the universe. That's the minimum rights violations. Hooray! So veganism, vegan pants is all for destroying all life in the universe. I mean, compare this to Hitler. He just wanted to kill one. He was just genocidal against one group of people. The vegans are all for destroying all life in the universe, literally all life in the universe, because that would minimize animal suffering and animal rights violations to zero. There you go. Yeah, veganism is great.
Male babies are going to be thrown into a blender while they're fully conscious and murdered that way. You think it's ethical
Well, what if they're not fully conscious? What if you put them to sleep? What if you gave them like a drug? What if you drugged them so they're sleeping? So according to you, that should be fine. But hold on. You're talking about suffering right now. That's not rights violations. So he keeps shifting his position. I don't understand. Why would you care about animal suffering? Why are you bringing it up? You,
to buy eggs from that industry?
I don't think it's ethical.
Then how is it ethical in the case of consuming?
how is this relevant if you found out that the farmer also murders his own children, whatever? Would that change the eggs? Let's say you have eggs in your fridge that you bought or on the counter that you bought from a farmer, and then the next day you discover that he's a child murderer. So is there something now wrong with the eggs? No. No. I guess maybe after that you wouldn't buy from this farmer. But let's say he every year him and his wife they abort a child, which you consider murder, because according to you, if the baby is sentient, so let's say the baby is sentient, but legally they're allowed to abort, and that's what they choose to do. So according to you, he is a murderer. So according to you, he violates rights, so you shouldn't buy from him. Well, most people violate animal rights, so you should not do business. The chair you're sitting on, was it created by a vegan? So you should only vegans like you, the carpet, the house, everything. You shouldn't be doing any business. You shouldn't be buying eggs. So you shouldn't be supporting any industry. Well, then you shouldn't be living in civilization. You should move out of civilization, but you're not. So how is this different than buying eggs? I don't see the difference. I'm sorry.
Animal products, like chicken eggs.
If that's the only option that I have at the moment, meaning that I can't afford or get,
Let me check the time. 52 minutes. All right. 8 more minutes to go.
for example, because I can't get my protein from anywhere else, given the condition of eating disorder and wheat allergy, and the fact that I have a specific macro goal for PCOS, then yeah, I'm going to consume something that at least helps me get to my protein goal, at least helps me get to where I need to be.
Okay, but you could eat something like hydrolyzed soy or pea protein isolate. You could eat a variety.
He shouldn't say that. That doesn't make any sense. Because what she said, he should do NTT. He should do name the trait and tell her, name the trait where you would eat a human because of your condition. That's what he should do. But instead, he's saying, no, you have alternatives. So according to him, if you did not have these alternatives, then you would be justified in murdering both humans, I guess, and animals. That's what it sounds like, which it doesn't make any sense. So I don't see the point of this argument.
Of nuts and seeds. There's some, like, I don't know if you eat whole eggs or just egg white.
So I steelman him. I mean, I don't always. I mean, I'm steel manning him. I'm telling him, no, that's a bad argument for you. It doesn't make any sense. It's inconsistent with how you view the world. So I don't, as always, I don't understand your position. You're just creating a complete mix of ideas that I don't know. I don't know what your veganism is. What is your veganism? You have to be consistent. You're inconsistent. I don't understand your position, as I always say. Veganism is utter nonsense. If I were paid as an activist lawyer representing the vegans, I would quit my job. I would not know what the vegan position is. I honestly don't. If I had to represent vegan gains as his speaker, as uh, as his lawyer, as someone that represents him, represents his veganism. I can't. I don't know. It keeps within one discussion. It keeps changing and shifting. It's everything. I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Lights. But you could
That's
eat
the only issue. Nuts, seeds, and hydrolyzed soy protein. It's not high enough volume for somebody with PCOS who's struggling with like a pretty severe hunger.
right. So then just add like vegetables. Like you could eat a big bowl of lettuce. You could add something.
How much time left? Oh my God. 4.5 minutes. I'm gonna kill myself.
To fill your stomach. So like there's ways around this, right? So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't have the calories for that. Meaning,
I mean, there's just so many issues. I mean, I could analyze and dissect his position forever, but always be just asking questions. And of course, there's no way to talk to him. And he banned me and blocked me. And it's very difficult to have a discussion with him, with other vegans. And of course, if you talk to him, you're always taking a chance that he's going to come after you and try to destroy you, him and his followers. So it's always dangerous. And even in this video that I'm making, he could issue a community guideline strike, whatever, copyright violation strike against my channel. So it's so difficult to deal with these people.
if I were to have the amount of soy isolate that I needed to get to my protein goal, needed to get to the macronutrient goal that I'm getting at, I would only be eating soy isolate. I would only be eating tofu. I would only be eating tempeh.
so that right. So that would justify murder. Like that would justify throwing like baby
I'm not
chips in
saying that it
blender.
does.
So-
I'm not saying that it does, which is why I advocate for lab grown meat.
Well, if it doesn't, then you admit you're doing something morally wrong.
Right now I am, but in the future I would like to switch over to lab grown animal products.
So at this point already, she is admitting that she's doing something wrong. Okay. So in her view, she's doing something wrong. I don't understand. I mean, how could that be? I mean, why would a person knowingly do something wrong? Obviously, that cannot be. I mean, there is a contradiction that has been created in her own mind that she cannot resolve. So she's saying, "I'm doing something wrong," but that's because you haven't analyzed it enough to understand what's going on, to understand. So, I mean, but that's because the assumptions. I mean, what are her assumptions? Why do you think you're doing something wrong? What is wrong, right? According to you, you have no choice. You have no choice, but society tells you it's fine to murder animals, and you have no choice. It's either die or do what society tells you, live and murder animals. But you have no choice. Like telling her, well, you can die. As far as she's concerned, right? You're offering her two alternatives: die and not violate animal rights, or live and violate animal rights. Okay, she prefers to live. What's the point of dying? So she prefers to live, and society tells her it's fine. So that's it. So there's nothing wrong. I mean, the definition of right and wrong is social norms. We didn't wake up this morning and decide what is right and wrong. Right? Even vegan Gaines, he says animal rights is an extension of human rights. Well, you did not invent human rights. Human rights, right? This is a social norm. You're just picking up on a social norm and you're trying to work within this social norm. You did not come up with human rights. If I ask you why give human rights, you don't have an answer to that. Why are you giving human rights? I don't know why you're giving human rights. That's just a social norm. And if you would ask him that, he would say, that's all he can say. But that's not an argument. Claiming that my question is absurd, that's not an argument, Mr. Vegan Pants. It's not. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's meaningless. Sorry.
Okay, so Why would you be doing something immoral when there's like easy workarounds for this? Like again, not only
So if it were easy workarounds, she would probably take them. She tried because she feels reluctant to violate animal rights. I think all people feel reluctant violating animal rights. We don't murder animals for fun. We murder animals because we all feel we have no choice. That's just how we feel. If we see a person just walking up to a cow and murdering it, that person would go to jail. You have to murder it because you have no choice, because you want to eat it. You have no choice. That's understandable. So she, like all of us, we're in a moral quandary. We're in a moral dilemma. We don't know what to do. We feel reluctant. We like animals. We love animals. I could sit and watch animal rescue videos on YouTube for hours, binge watch, and cry my heart out for each animal, and then discover that this animal that was rescued is in my freezer and I'm about to eat it for lunch. I would still cry. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't make me happy. The cycle of life doesn't make anyone happy. That's just the way it is. Soon I will die and the worms will eat me. The internal bacteria in my body will eat me, and that's just the cycle of life. It's amoral. The universe is amoral. So, we can cry about it because evolution created us. We found a local evolution found a local optimization, making us cry and sad when we see suffering. That's a local optimization. but but also evolution made us hungry, and hungry for meat. Even vegan gains, he's always eating meat resembling foods. Like, here I'm eating fried chicken, vegan fried chicken, whatever. So he's always craving meat. Evolution created us to crave meat. So so and evolution created us to love cuddly animals with big eyes, and to watch a video on YouTube of an amoeba being murdered and cry our hearts out, as you can see in the comment section. So yeah, yeah, that's life. We're full of dilemmas. We're full of contradictions. But what are you gonna do? So vegans, they just cannot handle these contradictions. So we must destroy all life in the universe because we cannot handle the pain of these contradictions. Okay,
only could you just consume like hydrolyzed soy.
let's see how much time we've been streaming for. Oh, my mouse, stop it. Oh, we're over 1 hour. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've had enough. Mm, and we're only 8 minutes in. It's enough. I mean, I've went through many ideas. I don't think I can go through hours and hours and hours explaining why veganism is utter nonsense. I mopped the floor with Ask Yourself and Dr. Avi in my first discussion. Nothing ever changed. Ask Yourself conceded that if you are an ethical vegan, if you define yourself as an ethical vegan, then the Nazis were ethical, which is obviously reductio ad absurdum, as always. But that's fine. It's okay when they do it. They're allowed to be reductio ad absurdum, obviously. Anyway, yeah, that should be enough for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a great rest of your life. Goodbye, everyone.